Kia ora, Year 11. Day 2 of making these videos. I'm going to make 3 solving equations videos. This is the first one of the one-step ones. I'll build up as we go along. But I just want to launch into how you'd solve some equations. So this x plus 5 equals 8 is saying, hey, on the right-hand side, I've got 8 things. On the left-hand side, I've got 5 plus an unknown like quantity. I don't know how many's in here, but I know that they're balanced with this 8. This unknown quantity plus 5. So the idea is that you're thinking, well, what could I do to both sides of this equation to make it balanced? Well, I could take away the 5. If I took away 5 from both sides, we'd suddenly have these 5 disappearing. We'd have 5 of these disappearing, and we'd be left looking at going, the leftovers is this 3 here, so x therefore must be 3. Now my layout, I've put 2 lines either side. I've written on the left hand side and the right hand side of these lines what my working out is, but the core calculations, the core workings happen inside here. You don't have to do these lines. I know a whole bunch of people went from this step to here. It's not an issue, but I find that these lines help a lot. I also find that in the exam, if you have the structure, it's very clear to the marker, whereas I know a lot of students would have done it without that there and would have written something along the lines of 8 minus 5 in here, which is very confusing for the marker. It's also not particularly useful when you go to harder equations. So my recommendation is don't write your intermediate steps on the inside. If you want to do calculations, just say, hey, look, I'm minusing 5 on this side. I'm minusing 5 on this side. That's balanced. We've got to the x plus 3. Let's have a look at this next one. I'll just switch colors so that we've got no confusion. This one here, I've got 3 unknowns. And what we're saying is we've got a balance. We've got 3 unknowns on this side. 1, 2, 3. But what we do know about them is that all 3 of those boxes has got the same amount in it. And then you've got 15 on this side, which means that we've got to work out how much is in each box. And we're saying, well, we need to split this 15 into 3 groups. So you've got one group here as the top row, the second row is another group, and the third row is another group. We've divided into 3 groups. So the opposite of timesing by 3, the opposite of this operation of timesing by 3 is dividing by 3. And that's going to give you x equals 5. Now, the whole time when you're doing this, a good way of thinking about it is what? Well, I want to have the opposite of plus 5, that's minus 5. The opposite of timesing by 3, that's dividing by 3. Let's have a look at this x minus 8. Well, the idea, I'm not going to draw a balance for this, but in essence, you've got a box that's had 8 things taken out of it, and that's given you 12 things. So if that box started with a certain number, it had 8 taken out, how did we get to 12? Well, the opposite of minusing 8 is going to be adding 8. So we need to add, that's brilliant, add 8, and we add 8 to this side as well. Okay, if we add 8 to both sides, we're left with x equals 20. Okay, so one last one. The opposite of adding was some subtraction. The opposite of timesing was division. The opposite of minus was addition. The opposite of division is multiplication. And I want you to work those in pairs, that you get used to the idea that subtraction and addition are opposites. Multiplication and division are opposites. So if you want to do the opposite of dividing by 4, we can times by 4, and you're going to get x equals 8. Now again, I've drawn up model solutions for the solving basic equations that I put in the Google Classroom. The layout's the same as this, a lot tidier because obviously my handwriting's not on the sketch pad, but it does have the same working out. What I'd like to say is the essential working out is what's in between these 2 lines. That is your minimal working out. If you want to add the lines in and you want to add in these times 4s and plus 8s and divide by 3s, that's fine, and I really do think it's a good idea. If you don't, it's perfectly adequate to go one step at a time. Have a look at my next video, solving linear equations 2 steps, and that will give you a lot more information of how the layout should look, but also what happens when there's multiple steps. Ka kite.